Dun, 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 dun.
I think we are live. Let me double check.
I was telling Ray earlier, the board meeting Tuesday, we lost power. So Christina in the middle of the board meeting. And Christina was having to totally do everything in the middle of a board meeting.
Did they get Julie's comments?
I think so.
Or was it in the last thing? That's the way I look at it. Aaron Damien made me cry. That was horrible.
Oh, she was bawling the whole time.
Yeah, it's cool. Damn it, Aaron.
It was a nice send-off.
It was.
We're good?
Very, very.
Okay.
I call the meeting to order. Time now is 3:02. If we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. Mr. G.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All commissioners are present. Public comment, I'm going to waive the reading because I'm sure you know that there's no public and everything else. We're going to go to reports, updates, and announcements. Commissioners' reports. Ms. Mendel.
No reports, just wishing everybody a happy 4th of July.
Mr. G.
No report, same here, wishing everyone happy 4th of July.
Same happy and safe 4th of July. Also, just like to bring to the attention, maybe the other ones. Ms. Clemmer turned in her resignation on Tuesday to the board, and her service with the district was commendable, 20 plus years. And as far as an old trustee is concerned, her leadership is going to be sorely missed, especially with the makeup of the board that's there right now. And so it's behooves us maybe if, reaching out to them if they ever need any help or want to talk or, anything else, we can give them the guidance, especially some of the older timers that have tenure in the district. Because they're going to be looking for leadership and it's going to be a little tough on personal opinion. All right, we're going to go with CSEA updates. It's summertime, so I'm sure Ms. Gonzalez
I have
is.
nothing from her.
No? District updates, Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes, good afternoon, board. Really quickly, I just want to bring to your attention that the district, USD, has been approving many positions in the areas for classified employees, in the areas of paraeducators, campus safety assistants, and also office support staff. The goal is to increase student achievement and increase safety at our school sites. So we've been approving a lot of those in the board meeting, in the BUSD board with the trustees, and they're coming down the pike, and the personnel office classified is going to be very busy testing and filling those roles. We're going to be using equity multiplier money. A lot of our schools receive funds, some of them upwards to $700,000.
Oh, wow.
So these monies are specifically to target safety, academic achievement, increase attendance, and that kind of thing. I just want to bring that to the board's attention. In addition to that, we look forward to continue negotiating with CSEA. We have negotiated the job descriptions, which are sitting right now at Monique's desk, that will be getting to Patty today or tomorrow, so that she could bring them back. So we're done with that, finally. It took forever. And then looking forward, just like I said earlier, to negotiating the articles that were presented, and also I want to wish a happy 4th of July to everyone. And I also want to congratulate Maria. I heard that there's an event tomorrow. So congratulations, and the 4th of July will probably have a different feeling for you this year. Congratulations.
Quick question, Mr. Gutierrez. As far as your job, flyings and stuff like that, when and how many will be presented to the commission office to start the process of testing and everything else. I mean, is it happening tomorrow? Is it happening next month? 6 weeks from now?
I think that's a Patty question.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you
Yeah.
had already sent them down the hall.
She's got them now. So,
Gotcha. Okay,
she's on it.
I'm done. Well, Ms. Gould.
So, there are 0 interviews in process, there are 6 recruitments in the testing stage, 1 recruitment is open, we have 2 more scheduled to open. And we, over the last 2 board meetings, I believe it is, the last 2 board meetings, they've increased paraeducator positions. Well, they've added paraeducator positions, they've added senior office assistant positions, those are targeting schools to assist with attendance. We've added, we're increasing campus safety, we're increasing some paras, we're looking at increasing para ELs, all from the equity multiplier money that came out, a month or 2 ago, depending, and stuff like that. So that's down the pike as far as, we have some eligibility lists already, and some we've just opened for, because we knew we were gonna need them, and other stuff is coming down the pike, but there'll be more recruitments to open. We did have to reopen Title IX. We had 3 people that made the list, 2 dropped out, 2 pulled. So we reopened it when they interviewed. We went through interviews with the 2 that were remaining, and that one did not accept because they took a job elsewhere. So that's reopened. I'll be opening my recruitment when I get back. So yeah, we're
How
gonna
many
be busy.
positions are we talking about with
Well, the
the
paraeducator was
paras and the
elementaries.
securities?
3 of the elementaries, there'll be more in July, but I know right now 3 of the elementaries added 2, 3, so a total of 5, 6 paras were added for kindergarten. And then SOA at 3 of the schools for attendance, 3 of the elementaries. We're adding 2 more paras and an SOA for another elementary in July. We're adding another para at one of the other elementaries.
So we're talking 13?
13 positions
Oh, cool.
that are being funded. And there were others that were increased, that were already in place, but the 3.5 or
Fives went
whatever
to
being
5s or
increased to
6.
6.
Okay.
So
Cool.
was this multiplier funding permanent or temporary?
It's, when I asked our business official, and he said it's gonna be here for a while. That was what he told me, because I asked that question. I said, is this gonna be,
One-time monies.
one-time monies, or is this gonna be ongoing? He says, for us, it'll be ongoing for a while. I said, okay.
Is it coming from the federal government,
State,
state?
it is the state, correct?
It is coming from the state and it's targeted assistance, so it has to be supplemental, it can't replace, so there are some, kind of like federal money, kind of like Title I, similar to that, but you can't take the replace it, but we could increase it. It's a little bit different than Title I. Title I, we would have not been able to increase the hours, but this allowed us to do that to those employees,
That's good.
because it's providing additional supports.
Okay, so moving on, we currently have 362 classified employees, of which 181 are full-time, 79 are the benefited part-time. You got my email today, right? Remember what we were talking about, since I pulled it, I sent it to you and Doug for those 79 part-time benefited
Yeah,
employees.
yes.
And then 102 non-benefited employees. The employee appreciation picnic that was last month and at the end of May was a good success, I feel. I also hope that everyone is enjoying going to enjoy their summer break. There's no scheduled meeting in July, and I know Julie Grounds should be back full-time tomorrow. She had some medical things today, but she'll be back. And then on a very positive note, very proud positive note, my office will not be open tomorrow morning because we will be down at the U.S. Customs and Immigration Service in San Bernardino, witnessing Marina be sworn in as a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. Having been present at one of those events as somebody that didn't have to go through green cards and all the other stuff, I attended one at the LA Convention Center where there was over like 5,000 people. I have never seen a prouder group of people, and me as a watcher in the back, it damn near brought tears to my eyes, because you think of I'm getting off on a soapbox, but you think of what you see on TV of people, beating up the United States and everything else, and you look at this was 25 years ago. Look at the 5,000 people that almost gave up their lives in some instances to come here to be a citizen and do anything else. Congratulations, you, your family, anybody else that's involved in this process. It's wonderful, and it's one of the best experiences I've ever experienced is to watch somebody get their citizenship. It's incredible. Congrats.
Congratulations.
And then, I gave you all copies of my work calendar. Coming forward, as you remember, I'll be
Mhm.
stepping down to a .8 FTE for July and August, and then be stepping again September and October. And just on a side note, July 12th is the cabinet retreat, and then July 16th, 17th, and 18th is the management retreat. That's gonna be out in Palm Springs, so I'll be attending both of
Well, that
those.
should be lovely.
In Palm, yeah, at the.
I think you guys should do some outdoor events.
It'll be hot.
120.
It'll be blistering.
Yeah.
It's at the Ritz-Carlton, so it'll be
Very
nice.
nice.
It's nice up there. The view's spectacular.
Well, I will say they were
But it's
looking
still
at a
hot.
place called Margaritaville, but they decided that probably wasn't best for educators.
And there's nobody there at the Ritz during the summertime anyway.
So,
You get to see the big horn sheep.
okay, that concludes my report. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second,
Anybody want anything pulled or anything like that? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion?
Second,
Anybody like anything from there pulled? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Moving along, we'll go to the request of advanced step placement, CSEA range 40, step 3 for Miss, how do you say it, Sarian?
Sorry,
Physical services technician. I will entertain a motion for discussion purposes.
A motion that we approve her request for step 3.
Second?
Hi, I'm gonna speak to it, but I will not support for the step 3. I have some strong feelings about this in that we bring in an individual, they apply for a job at a certain step and a certain wage. We then have the beauty of the commission to be able to look and change it and everything else. It lies the problem that in reading through that, she has 3 years, I think, working for the city of Barstow in what I'm assuming is like-kind work here in the district. The prior was in the banking industry, which really didn't pertain to this job. The education is in something different. Now, I never poo-poo on education, but the education is not with a background in finance or accounting. It's human resources and something else, not taking away any of that. So it doesn't meet these great qualifications. Also on a personal level, and again, I work off of how it is that I feel about certain issues. The merit system is in place inside of the district for certain reasons, to help Mrs. Sarian, to help other employees. But yet at the same time, for the last, I think, 3 months, along with surveys, the employees of CSEA, and I'm using this as a broad spectrum, want to remove the merit system for whatever reason. You cannot have your cake and you cannot eat it too, in my world. You either want it or you don't want it, all right? I guarantee you, when these positions come up and have seen it before in a non-merit district, you accept a job at a scale and a range, and that's what it is. You don't go down the hall and now lobby a group of people to get a raise 2 weeks on the job. The lady at the time that submitted this had been on the job for 2 weeks. She hasn't gone through a probationary period or anything else. Ms. Dool knows way more about the merit district than I do and has suggested for a step 3, I believe it is, or something like that. So taking my personal opinion, sitting on the side of the guy, and then taking her expertise sitting on that side, I'll agree to disagree and split it down the middle and make it a 2. But I can't support a 3. Step to the job as a 1, take the job as a 1, go through it like everybody else. Because there's people probably sitting in that finance department that came on in a non-merit district, transferred over, and were not offered the same luxury. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, as far as I'm concerned, but I will also support Ms. Newell. So therefore, I cannot support step 3, but I will entertain step 2.
Director,
Information?
oh, go ahead. Yeah, what?
So just as a history, we approved the HVAC tech to come in at step 5. And the current HVAC tech did reach out to me and he wanted to know if he could go back and redo history. And I told him no, the system, it wasn't in place as it was then when he was hired in 2018, 2019. This is intended for new hires. It's not intended for current employees. That being said, I've done since I started in 20, a total of 8 if you include myself. I didn't actually do myself. The board decided, the commission at the time automatically offered the job at step 5 for me. When I interviewed and they offered me the job, we had 3 management advanced step requests. All 3 came in at step 5 at the time. Our PIO, one of our directors of nutrition services, and our current director of maintenance. The HVAC tech was coming from the Navy, but he was in the Navy before he was the HVAC tech out at Barstow as a GS 8 or 9. He'd been doing HVAC out there for the past few years. He had quite extensive, and we brought him in at 5. We also brought in 2 of our current campus security assistants, the new job description. They both came in at step 4. Ms. Syrian comes to us with 3 years of experience with the city of Barstow in accounts payable, accounts receivable, which is our office here. It's not just payroll, it's accounts payable and accounts receivable, and as payroll backup for 3 years at the city of Barstow. We have a current fiscal services tech who came in, been here for 3 years. He is now at step 4. There's no requirement for someone can't ask for advanced step after they've been here. They have to ask for it when they're hired, right before when they're onboarding, that's when it comes up. So I support her at step 3 because besides the 3 years with the city of Barstow, she has approximately 8 years in private industry banking in the finance sector. She also is pursuing her bachelor's degree. When you combine all of that together, the individual perseverance at bettering themselves is part of a decision-making process for me, because I look at what the totality of the person is. It's not just someone coming in who has 5 or 6 years in a payroll department at another school district here in the high desert. It's a variety of things. Someone who has, and for lack of a better phrase, has the gumption to actually ask for advanced step is someone who knows how it works in the real world. Anybody who's out in the private sector who gets a job offer has the right to negotiate their starting salary. People here don't have that right, especially coming into the bargaining unit classifications. Excuse me. But they do have the right to ask for advanced stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, let me throw that one on there. I hear Ms. Newell and I have already, I separate, and I should use, and again, this is the way my brain works, HVAC, skilled labor, learning, schooling, everything else, and in the high commodity inside of thing. Not that somebody in the finance department doesn't have the same needs, wants, in anything else that goes in that spectrum. But again, you're going from one public agency to another public agency for one of 2 reasons. She accepted the job knowing that there's going to be 1, could possibly be turned into a 3. Possibly, wasn't guaranteed. There was a reason why she wanted to leave her job. God only knows what it was. And I don't know if we're better or worse, but we have the fiduciary responsibility also to be reasonable with what it is that we offer employees coming through the store. And just because you come in and you have 3 years in another government agency paying bills, doesn't necessarily mean you came in here with 3 years and you get, 2 steps, I don't know what it amounts to dollar wise, $2 more or something. I could be the world's best janitor. And if I was a janitor somewhere else, I guess I could lobby to come in at a different step to be, the best janitor, paid janitor. But what's that say to the other ones that went through the process?
Part of the merit system principles is the like pay for like work. It's hard to compare an HVAC tech to a fiscal services tech.
Correct.
You can't.
You can't. Two different
That's
things.
why it is two different things, and you look at the minimum calls. And that's in the merit system, that's why those are critical when you're looking at minimum calls. So one of the criteria that I look at, the additional, and that's why it's in every single agenda item when I do an advanced step, it says additional qualifying experience, additional education, additional skills, additional experience, or the difficulty in recruitment. We had interviews set, we had to go to, I don't know why, it's doing.
Frog in your throat.
We did have to go to a second set of interviews for this. In the first round, as you know, I will always defer to current promotional candidates, internals first, for the first round of interviews. If you look at the eligibility list, which I did not attach here, but I know it's public and it's online, our current employees who make that promotional eligibility list do not score nearly as high as our outside candidates. I had to pull an outside candidate. We had to go to the outside candidates to complete the interview process because one of our internal candidates pulled out at the last minute. I think the district was very lucky to get this person to accept the interview.
And I would argue that with that luck also comes the fact of job retention. This individual isn't going to not stay employed here and go back to the city of Barstow because of a one-step decrease.
I would tell you the same thing I told the chair when I talked to him earlier. I put forth my information. The decision is on you. If you guys decide if you want to debate and go back and forth, I don't have a problem with that. I just know past practice, when I look at each and every one that I bring, I look at what is these people bringing to the table? How much experience, how much education over and above? How hard was it to recruit? All those factors, what are they bringing? And I don't, as much as I try not to do a comparison and do cookie cutter.
It's an individual case basis.
Individual case by case. I will say, we brought in 2 campus security assistants at step 4 earlier this school year, and one of them had less experience than this person does.
Understood. And in my case of evaluating on a case by case basis, the need to have those campus security specialists, I believe they're called.
Well, they're just campus security.
Security assistant.
Oh, assistants, that was the word I was looking for. So we put them down and I read everything, and to get them on, to get them done as quickly, there was a need for that, and I don't believe the scale of pay was, all that much different.
Well,
And
they are
again,
at a lower
I'm kind of
range.
like, yes, exactly. But when you come into something like this, working in the staff in a skilled labor position, that's so on and so forth, that is a fair wage of starting. And again, these other people would have probably done other things. This lady sought us out. I don't know that she went to the city and said, Miss So-and-so, please come apply for our job. And if we did, then we are obligated to maybe pay her on a different thing. She said, I want to go work at Barstow Unified. And again, I'm going to switch hats of a 12-year thing. Barstow Unified is the place to be. This is the place you want to work. This is the place you want to be associated with, not City Hall. She made a choice, and she accepted a job. We can't give her more money, or we can't, and I've already talked enough about it. I say split the difference. I appreciate what you have to say. I appreciate what my little guy in the back of my head has to say. I'll split it at 2. And it's up to the other 2 members. Yeah, this one.
It's not my vote.
Well, no, but
I think she only asked for step 3. She didn't ask for any more.
Yeah.
So,
other commissioner.
I think we should stay at range 40, step 3.
All right.
Especially because of the security, campus security. we approved them at 4. We approved the HVAC at 5. She's asking for 3.
Again,
Yeah,
in my
I
mind, it
read
was a
her-
case by case basis.
Yes, it is. So my motion is to approve her request at step 3.
And the motion and the second's on the table.
Director, do you feel step 3 is appropriate compared to step 2 or 4 or 1 or how, what goes in
I
your
believe step
thinking?
3 is appropriate for bringing in someone in one of the more seasoned or journey level classifications. She does bring experience. It might not be Barstow unified experience, it might not be school district experience, but she brings accounts payable, accounts receivable. She brings the whole aspect of dealing with money and finance and billing. And that's a big part of our fiscal services department, not just payroll.
I understand where Commissioner Rosenberg is coming from. I understand your arguments, but then as director also said, this is her right to do this and this
It
is her
was her
only,
right to request
and
it,
this
absolutely.
is her only time to do it when
Yeah,
not
that's
at the
correct.
onboarding, so
I've had
she's.
Other inquiries from, as I said, the current HVAC tech, when we hired the new HVAC tech, he wanted to know if he could go back and get back pay and request advanced step from being hired in 2019. I've had a fiscal services tech ask me the same thing. Can I go back and request advanced step for when I got hired in 21? And I'm like, but you're already at step 4, so, and no.
Yeah.
For new hires, you can't do that. There's other avenues for people that pursue professional growth, that are advancing their own personal knowledge base. That's, you've got professional growth. You've got other aspects for that. So this is for new hires,
So
and they have to ask for it before they roll in step.
this is what the merit system affords, they have this right to do this.
Okay. Which I'll express again, which is yes, but let's not forget the 3 or 4 months worth of conversation and things, they want to get rid of the merit system.
But we can't penalize
Well,
one.
I'm not suggesting
I'm
that,
sure not
but you
her.
can't have your cake and eat it too. She doesn't know anything about the merit system. But what I'm saying is this is just a case in point of the protections of the merit system.
Right.
This right here is one of the glaring things, and if they don't understand that, and again, I forgot the phrase where the senior ones kind of eat the young ones and throw them under the bus. This is a protection for new hires.
Yeah.
110%. I'm sorry if the people at the top that wanted to get rid of the merit system for whatever reason didn't get the same luxuries, but the merit system is in place for new hires just like this. So I'm not using it as an argument there or against, but I'm just saying, why get rid of something where you have the benefit of doing it? Because this lady is not going to George's office and negotiating an increase. You either take the job or you don't, we'll onboard you, see you, bye. That was more for those people up there because they don't understand.
And I
Okay,
hope that there's a lot of classified people watching this.
yeah.
I would like to hope so too, but
And this is one of the protections. With that being said, there's a motion and second on the floor to approve this young lady as a, coming in
fiscal services tech at step 3.
fiscal
Services.
tech at step 3. There's been a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, what we're going to do now is go on to the termination of the merit system. You want me to start my soapbox again? You think I placed enough emphasis on? And I'll say it in case somebody's missed it. The fact that we just went and had a discussion on behalf of a new hire because of the merit system and because of Ms. Duell doing the due diligence, going through the application process, you should want these protections.
I agree, I agree with you.
I have no update as far as this, other than a discussion with the CCA president. They still don't have, when they did the survey, they did not get but maybe 20 or 25 respondents in the survey. I know it requires 40% signatures for the petition to the board, of the classified members.
And they're able to do that as of July 1st.
As of July 1st, that is correct.
This is her right, not against her.
So, but if they can't get the 20 people to respond to the survey. She doesn't think that they would ever be able to get the 40%, at least not now.
And how long is a survey valid?
But
before
that's-
you gotta read?
Once we go past July 1st, this can be.
This is any time.
Any type
It's
of
any moment.
ongoing,
It could be
okay.
July 2nd, it could be August 10th, it could be, 2025.
And or 2026, I mean, that's the way it is in a merit district. Once you go past the 5 years of having it brought in, then they can be
Can
voted
avoid
out at
any
any
time.
time. But the process is, the petition has to have at least a 40% signatures of the classified service. They petition the board then will take it and set up what they call the pro con, and then they have to call for the vote. The vote requires 50% plus one of those who vote. Not necessarily of
Of
the
the
total,
membership, yeah.
of the
So
membership.
25 vote, 13 people
Yeah,
can,
exactly.
13
Yeah.
people can discuss
Now,
this
in the
commission.
2 districts that I witnessed, the vote out or the vote, most districts do a pretty good job because it's handled out at each and every site. The employees vote and they put it in a box and so on. And then they count, they have representatives from the district and representatives from the bargaining unit that sit down and actually count and tally it.
So the threshold to get it even presented to the board is much higher than the actual vote out
Could
of
be.
the actual.
Yes,
They're gonna need, what, 120 signatures?
Yeah, exactly, because what's, you just said.
300
Yeah.
well, there's 362 classified employees
40%.
and 40% of that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
320 times 4, 32 times 4.
Yeah.
120.
28, right.
If they only need 3 votes,
So the
On the
hurdle,
other
I
hand,
said the hurdle is getting the
there are 2
petitions.
votes.
Yeah.
You'd have to have 3 participants, so you get 2 votes, it's a majority.
No, yeah, it is what it is, so.
Oh, I guess no news is good news
That's the way I look at it.
at the moment. Sorry, George.
I'm neutral.
Yeah.
I'm neutral.
I've sat on the other side.
I was not in your closed session for that. That was not me.
I know how the other end of the building feels about this conversation.
Actions have been taken and the agenda is at the end.
Okay, sorry, we're not allowed to have fun, sorry. Shh, bad. Okay, we have no need to go into closed session as far as I know. All right, I will call for adjournment at 3:33.